Welcome to Spill the Trauma, Keep the Drama. I'm your host, Kayla. As always, I do want to remind you guys I'm not a licensed professional. If you are seeking mental health help, reach out to a licensed professional. If you need help finding resources, you can always hit me up. My handle everywhere is Spill the Trauma, Keep the Drama. Let's spill some trauma. You know that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other? That's my dad and grandpa calling each other junkies. The tragic comedy, neither sees their own addiction staring back in the mirror. One's a functional stoner, the other's a whiskey-soaked boomer. Both convinced the other one's the real problem, while repeating the same stories for the thousandth time. I don't actually believe either is a junkie. They're both wrestling the same monster. Addiction, just wearing different masks. Grandpa's is liquid courage that turned into liquid dementia. Dad's is smokescreens that cloud his priorities. And me, I'm the unwilling referee in this decades-long game of, I know you are, but what am I? Growing up with Grandpa's alcoholism was like being trapped in a soap opera directed by a drunk Tasmanian devil. One second, he's laughing at some old story. Next, he's sobbing about how no one loves him. Then he's screaming that we're all ungrateful assholes. And the cherry on top was the night he stormed into my room and smashed my laptop because homework was keeping me up too late. Shout out to Grandma who forced him to buy me a new one the next week. That woman is the real MVP. But the worst part, the small cruelties. Like when he'd drunkenly poke Grandma while she tried to sleep and she'd yell, "Come get your grandfather." So I'd march in like a tiny bouncer, yank his ear, and be like, "Leave my grandmother alone." Even at 12, I knew addiction turns grown men into toddlers, and somebody had to put him in timeout. Dad's addiction? Less explosions, more slow motion car crashes. It's him forgetting to pay bills because he'll get to it later. Spoiler, he didn't. It's seeing a brilliant man, a guy who could do anything he put his mind to, quote philosophy, and make me laugh until I cried. Stuck at emotional 17 because weed kept him frozen in time. And yeah, I rage sometimes, but then I remember his medicine is also his cage. MS is a monster. I'll never know that pain, but I do know addiction loves to whisper, this is the only way to survive. And that's the tragedy, watching someone use the wrong key on the right lock. Grandpa's addiction was a wildfire. Loud, destructive, impossible to ignore. Dad's is a slow leak. Quiet, but just as corrosive. Both left me swinging with rage and heartbreak. But here's the fucked up gift that they gave me. I learned to hate addiction, not the addict. Even when Grandpa broke my laptop, even when Dad would forget normal things, because the men underneath, they're still the ones who taught me to fight for Grandma and sing Little Wing through nightmares. Addiction distorts people, it doesn't erase them. Neither chose this path. Grandpa's mom gave him alcohol as a child to numb polio pain. He's been chasing that numbness for 70 years. Dad's older brother handed him his first joint at 10 years old, because what's cooler than getting a 5th grader high? Stupid jackass. When you realize they were basically groomed into addiction before puberty, it's hard not to see them as victims too. Alcoholism was violent outbursts, controlling behavior, and the same war stories on a loop until dementia erased the endings. Weed addiction looked like chronic forgetfulness, terrible priorities, and the same stoner philosophy until the munchies hit. Different flavors, same empty promises of quitting tomorrow. Somehow, through all of this, we built love. Like I said, I'm still my dad's little wing, the song he sang me through childhood nightmares. And I'm still Grandpa's Attenkutti, which is baby lamb in Malayalam. Though this lamb learned to butt heads when he dished out advice like never take shit, but couldn't take his own medicine. Addiction writes its own rulebook. Grandpa could spot Dad's habit from a mile away, but called his whiskey velum. He drinks it like it's water. Dad, he's actually come a long way. These days, he'll sometimes catch himself and be like, wow, this is bad advice. Or he is more self-aware, way more self-aware than my grandpa. But that awareness, it's hope. But it also breaks my heart because I know Grandpa's dementia stole any chance for his moment of clarity. That's the cruel math of addiction. The more self-aware you become, the more you grieve the years lost to denial. And for me, I'm learning to hold both truths. that dad's trying in ways grandpa never could, and that the weed still makes him forget sometimes, but progress isn't perfect. But after generations of full-on denial, I'll take it. Addiction is the world's worst game of telephone. The message about getting help gets lost in translation between generations. But here's what I know. They were failed as kids. I refuse to fail myself as an adult, so I'll keep pointing out the reflections they don't see, while making damn sure I don't become the next Spider-Man in this tragic meme. At the end of the day, addiction is hard. Whether you're fighting it yourself or watching someone you love drown in it. There's no easy answers, no magic fixes, just a lot of broken laptops, emergency dispensary runs, and the same damn stories on repeat. But here's what I know. You're allowed to rage, to grieve, to laugh darkly when your person texts you at 2 a.m. about quitting tomorrow. For real this time. And most importantly, you don't have to do it alone. There's resources, there's help, and if you ever need to vent to someone who gets it, my DMs are open. Spill the trauma, keep the drama. No judgment, just the solidarity of a fellow survivor. Thanks for listening, and hey, if nothing else, let's all agree to never give a 10-year-old a joint. Some cycles need breaking.